Everyone doing?
Great.
Come on. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? Much better. So can you believe it's already June 15th? Halfway through the month of June and halfway through the month and a year as well. So it's pretty interesting. Time is going so quick. So thank you so much. In regards to lunch is on its way. We have a little slight hiccup, a delay. There was a lady that was ordering 100 pizzas for a graduation. And when the staff went to go pick it up, says, unfortunately, you got 120 pizzas in front of you. So we have to wait. So I apologize. The food will be here shortly. As soon as it comes, I'll get the green thumb up. But the food is here. Having some slides of pizza. Is that good? All right, let's go ahead and continue. Next slide, Natalie, please. All right. What's that? Okay. I need to do this more often and check my back, right? Got it. There we go. All right, repeat after me. Our mission, our beliefs, and our vision. Okay, so are you ready? In the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Our mission is to provide agents with a place where they will be empowered, trained, and motivated
to experience growth, wealth, and a legacy that allows them to live their best life possible.
Our belief, the values of your company align with your own. You know you found a professional home. Our vision, to achieve amazing professionals and personal development.
Obviously,
you do not have this memorized. That's what your homework assignment. Let me go ahead and move the camera just a slide up so that way we can see and achieve professional and personal development through KW South Bay, remaining the agency of choice. So thank you very much. I appreciate you all for participating. All right, let's go ahead and continue. All right, we want to welcome our new KW family associates to our month of June. So Emily, we're so grateful.
And we also have Sandra Osorio, who's not added on.
She's not added. Sandra as well too. So thank you for being part of this amazing team. Hello, newcomers. Awesome.
you're late, Thomas.
Bob is
That's why
always
we
late.
call you.
I am not always late, that is untrue.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and continue. Next slide, please. All right. So is
All right,
Aaron here? Can you
hello.
go see if Aaron is in his office? All right. We want to congratulate Aaron Alcides for having.
How long did it take you, a week or 2 weeks to cap this time?
One small deal.
Couple of selections.
Congratulations.
Okay.
So this is what happens when you cap with KW South Bay. You get an amazing box of goodies, and they're in a gift card too as well, and a plaque. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
Is Al Gaina here too? Oh, there's Al. Al, come up. So also Al.
About 30.
The low end, right?
That's awesome. So congratulations to both of you. That's what happens when you camp with KW South Bay. You know, all your transactions and commissions thereafter are 100%. So kudos, Bob. You also had your box last week as well. All right, let's go ahead and continue.
What was it?
Lunch.
All right, Ed.
Sandwich. Hey,
Let's.
what's up, everybody?
Yeah.
Oh my.
You ready to follow interest rates, mortgage rates? Crazy, right? You guys did the Fed today. Was it?
You guys hear the rates went up? 7.5.
So look, we were gonna have an MREA minute here all summer long and be talking about the MREA, but with things happening as they are, I thought this book would be a little more appropriate, right? So, we talked about it a few weeks back, we were talking about mindset, but, okay, well, let's take a step back. In this book, there's 12 tips to help you get through market shifts, which is like what we're dealing with right now, right? So we're gonna go through them one at a time. So for the next couple months, 3 months, how long it'll take to get through there, right? 4 months, 3 months. We'll go through those and cover them all, right? Because I think it's gonna be like what we're talking about for the next 6 months or so. So now's the time to buckle down. Today, we're talking about tactic number 2 of 12. By the way, anybody here know who James Shaw is? Does that ring a bell? You guys know him from KW? James Shaw?
Big time, big time.
He's like one of the top instructors for KW. When we had, remember when everything hit the fan back in 2020, and there was a bunch of Zoom calls, and we had Shift online. He was one of the main instructors, bald guy, super nice guy, super knowledgeable. He is going to be here in the region in person teaching Shift as a day-long class. I highly beg you guys to please take it. It's not free. I think it's $89. It is $89. It's going to be July 27th. Be on the lookout. If you haven't, you may have already gotten an email about it but the Eventbrite is up and running. I highly recommend you guys take it. I don't, sign down. We don't get a penny of that. We're just saying, please do it because we know it'll help your business. Okay, but that's another topic. But today we're talking about tactic number 2. I'm gonna, next time we'll make a quiz and make it a little more fun, but I put this together on the fly. I'm gonna read you some stuff from tactic 2, kind of what stands out to me, the stuff I highlighted, the stuff that kind of resonated with me, and we'll kind of open it up for a bit of a discussion, right? Sound good?
Yep.
All right, here's what I got. So Gary talks about tactic 2 is remargin your business / expense management. So here I've got some quotes scattered around here. My experience has taught me that the most responsive to change are the ones most likely to survive and thrive. We can talk about that for an hour. He goes on. The first one is the only one that can get you back to profitability the fastest. Cutting costs. The number one determinant of thriving is lead generation, but the number one determinant of surviving a shift is expense management. When markets shift, the first change a business must make is, quote, re-expense itself. Revenuing your way out of a shift is iffy at best, meaning like you can't just like lead generate your way out of it, right? You may have to cut some costs first. Generating more income may be possible in the short run and take too much time in the long run. This approach is always just too little too late. Now is the required speed when a shift occurs. Get your expenses lower now. I cannot overemphasize the importance of always working from a position of profitability. You must lower your costs now. To generate revenue, you generate leads. To make a profit, you must manage expenses. He goes on. In up markets like the one we've had for the past 5 years, right? We tend to move fast and swell up. We're not as tight on our dollars or as tough on our results. In up markets, we tend to acquire habits and patterns of doing things that don't stop us in good times, but grind us to a halt in bad. In other words, we do so much right that the market covers up the wrong. How many can relate to that, right? For the last 5 years, we're like, oh, I'll spend money on this, I'll spend money on that, and then we do so much right that the market covers up the wrong that we may be doing. There's so much more to cover here, but I'm just going to skip to a couple more bullet points. Your money was once smart. It was invested each day based on past successful results. So it was predictably productive each time it was spent. It was smart money. When the market shifts, your money instantly becomes dumb. What worked no longer works, so what it was spent on doesn't yield the same results. It is dumb money. So what he's talking about is to get the results you want, you'll have to pull back your expenses, find your margin of profit, figure out what works, and then put your money behind it. So I can't find exactly what I was in the chapter. It talks about a lot of people wonder like, well, how much should I cut back my expenses? Should I base it on kind of like the average of my last few years? Should I base it on like my best year? Should I base it on the year just past? He said, no, figure out what your income is now and scale it back and then start to add back up again. He's like, you've gotta always be coming from profitability. So you may need to cut back a lot of stuff here in the next year, here in the next few months to get back to a position of profitability before you can start adding stuff back in. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Some of you guys who are new are like, well, I'm not making, well, I understand you're not making profit, that's fine. Just be out, try to hold your expenses as tight as possible while you're growing the business, right? That's the best advice we can give you. And as I footnote, as I say oftentimes, if you're new, now is a great time to be new in real estate because you guys heard on the call this morning, we're
Everybody's
talking
new,
about.
nobody's making money.
No, but when the market shifts,
Especially
when the market shifts, lots of things shift in the market, lots of things are shifting, including the hierarchy of agents, people who have gotten lazy and done things like, there's a great opportunity right now for newer agents. It's actually like the best time to start as an agent, in my opinion. Anyways, there's a quick little few nuggets. Anyone have a couple comments or anything on that they want to add?
question.
Yes.
You also increase your lead gen?
I would change my lead gen. I would figure out what. So if you've been living off of Zillow leads, that's the first thing I would cut. I would slash that with a Ginsu knife, and I would I would not spend money on. There was a time when Zillow leads had a big profit margin, and nowadays it's much smaller. You can in an up market. Some people tell me they still make money off it, but you have to spend so much dough, and you can quickly go bankrupt spending 10 grand a month on Zillow leads, which some people do, believe it or not, right? So, but what I would do is I would figure out the things that are working for you. Calling your sphere is always going to work, always in every market. That should be the foundation of everybody's business.
That's the one you increase.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What you could do and doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
That you could increase.
The things that don't cost you, I would spend more money on that.
Right.
Things like expired and FSBOs might come back into fashion. We haven't seen that in a long time. When was the last time anybody called an expired listing? When was the last time there was an expired listing, right? But we might be seeing some of those come around more.
There's 4 a month. I call it.
But you get what I'm saying, right? We might see some distressed properties again.
Yeah.
Plenty of those.
So if you don't mind me.
Yeah,
adding
please,
to
please.
that as well, just kind of piggyback to what you're saying. This is where you need to double up and triple up in the activities that we're doing. Just because the uncertainty of the market right now that we're facing, even and modeling the top performers, seeing what they're doing. Because obviously they're doing something that has some consistent, even though it goes up or it goes down, there's still consistency in their business. They're also feeling the pinch as well, because I'm talking to the agents and they're telling me, Simon, we're struggling with our inventory and all that good stuff. But the moral of what I'm trying to explain here is tripling, doubling up on your activities. If that means prospecting, if that means door knocking, if that means picking up the phone and making calls, those are the opportunities, because I can tell you from proven fact and doing this for quite some time, a lot of agents are not going to do it, and they're going to start falling out and washing out, because it's what was 2 years ago of this amazing real estate transaction platform, right? You get a listing, boom, you got 20 offers, that's out. Okay. Now we have to work for our commissions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
More price
Awesome.
conscious also.
Yeah.
There's more. We'll cover more. We'll cover one each week, and we'll get our way through this. I recommend getting a copy of this book if you haven't read it in a while. And again, don't be afraid of this shift. It's what's happening. Shift happens, and we're going to shift along with it, right? And if you work smart, there's agents who have their best years in a down market. Aaron, do you want to ask?
Sure, just wanted to say that in these times is when it's most
Eric, come on
it's
closer.
really important to price ahead of the market. You see where the market is going, so do not, well, if that's what it takes to take a very high listing, it's just gonna sit there. And you're gonna be so busy babysitting that one, that you're gonna miss out on getting other ones. So make sure that you have the honest conversation with the sellers and make sure that you price ahead. And what I mean ahead is that if the listing is worth $750, you show the seller why and how he can get that $750 and then some by actually pricing it a little below. that is on the basic presentation that even the board provides. It's called smart pricing. I just did with that with a property this past weekend in Gardena. That's still, I mean, I was saying that I was gonna get 7 to 10 offers. I actually got 8 right on it. Well, I mean, I think Al, I was talking to Al, and we are seeing that we're on listings that we were getting 10 offers. Now we might be getting 2 or 3. So it is changing, but if you use that strategy, you're always gonna win, and there's nothing better than getting that property in and out.
100%, yes. And just to add to what Aaron was saying, and thank you for sharing that, the importance of data, right? The importance of checking the multiple listing service on a regular basis, right? To kind of see, because you don't want to be that agent that believes that the property is worth this, and now it sits on the market, and now you're chasing the market, right? And asking for price reduction. If you're looking at the MLS right now, properties are staying on the market a lot longer. Now we're also going to see a transition when it comes to commissions as well. Or now those 1.5%, 2% commissions, they're going to start giving incentives and bonus, and we're going to start seeing 2.5% and 3% commissions, is because they're saying like, what is going on with this market? How come this one is not selling? Okay, so think about that for a minute, and strategizing and making sure that you're having deep conversations and being strong in your presentation. Having control over the price, because they're gonna bucket, they're gonna say, well, Zillow is selling me this. Okay, so any other questions? Cool, awesome. Ed, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Ed.
All right. It's coming. All right, Thursday, June 16th, that's tomorrow, from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Many will be spearheading the KW Mastermind for this month, Build Your Sphere of Influence. And Drake Cruz, phenomenal agent out of the Keller Williams Long Beach office. It's funny because I was having a conversation with him on a transaction he's involved in. It's a very sketchy looking agent. It's funny as heck. But he's going to be one of the guest speakers. And then Christina Blue, one of our agents here at the South Bay office. So that's tomorrow, Thursday, June 16th, from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. All right, next slide. All right, producer JT Taylor. This is going to be this Friday, June 17th, 8 o'clock. This is part of the producer's mindset. Ed will be spearheading the guest speaker this Friday. If you're aware or not aware, every Friday we have a guest speaker. On the 24th of this month, I will be having a guest speaker, Katrina Matthews, one of our top agents here. It's a 30-minute segue from 8 o'clock to 8:30. Love to see more KW South Bay agents jumping on those calls.
I
This
tried
Friday.
to jump in one of them and it didn't let me, so it's like, okay, whatever.
Is that so? Okay, well,
It
we
just
need to
doesn't
change
like
that.
it fair, that's
I know.
No, we gotta correct that. So are you sure that you're jumping on the right link?
Well,
We
whatever
have
comes to
operator
mind,
error.
there's only one part.
Operator error.
See me after, we'll get that squared away. There's the KW hub that you can jump in as well. You can jump on the, okay.
So JT Taylor, by the way, he's from Henderson, Nevada, right outside of Las Vegas. Super sharp guy. He's a team leader out there. He is an awesome agent, runs a team, and also a big investor. He's been a guest on our
Yeah.
on the Thursday afternoon was it Wealth Builders call as well. Really, really sharp guy.
Yeah.
Cool. Make sure this Friday, 6 o'clock. All right, next slide, please. All right, The Office, Monday, June 20th, it's a celebration of Juneteenth, Freedom Day. This Friday will be, what's that? That's your birthday, too.
Celebration of my birthday.
We're close to the office for your birthday.
We're closing the office for Aaron Alcidas' birthday. His birthday is actually the 20th. And then June 21st, we'll resume the office. So office will be open to all the associates and agents who can come in and out. I will probably be here on Monday. I think I booked 2 appointments that day, not realizing it's now a national holiday. But then on Tuesday is my birthday, so I'm looking forward to June 21st, which is the summer, first day of summer, so, just letting everyone know that the office will be closed on Monday. And I think, Gavin, you're playing golf, right? All right, next slide.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, go ahead with the video.
Whoa.
Go ahead with the video, Natalie. Sorry.
I know it's okay. I decided it's way too long.
Okay. Just handling the slides for me.
Handled it.
All right, so June 21st, 4 to 5 p.m. And the reason we pushed it from 4 to 5 is because we're actually doing bowls on Tuesday. So proper way to disclose a death. All right, I'm very compliant, and as the broker, one of my biggest sticklers, and making sure that you are also in compliance and making sure that you are properly doing the documentation that is necessary to avoid the liability. Right, Bob?
It's gonna take you an hour to say, yeah, if somebody died in the property, disclose it at the
It's
last
probably
3
gonna
years.
take me 2 hours. But there's a lot of information. So Tuesday, 4 o'clock, love to see you. It'll be in person and also on Zoom. Proper ways to disclose a debt. Believe it or not, there's a lot of agents that unfortunately do not know how to disclose. So that's the importance of it. So stay tuned for that. Next slide, please. All right, I know this is a sensitive topic, and I've got some kind of resistance on this, but we actually have a phenomenal class next month on July 25th. I encourage you to be part of this. It's the active shooter response training. Okay, learn how to protect yourself. It'll be Monday, July 25th at 3 p.m. here at the KW office. What is an active shooter situation? As you can see with media right now, there's so many concerns regarding active shooting situations. Awareness, mindset, and also self-defense options. Training will be provided by Vince Osohero, owner of Shield Asset LLC, but he's also an active Gardena captain. Okay, so I have the honor of having a sworn police officer captain being one teaching this class of active shooters, okay, and the importance of it. Now, it's geared for all, men and women, okay, but why do I need to go to that? You know, one of the key elements in my mind of thinking, and now probably, you know, having your brother as a law enforcement, you know, what do we have next to us?
A bank.
We have a bank. Right? And what happens in banks?
They get held out.
They get held out. Yeah. You know, that's worst case scenario. Hope that never happens. But what if a scenario does happen where thugs come into the to the office, right? And now they're holding people hostage. Do you know how many exits we have here in the office? And a lot of us do not know. So one of the key components to his training is, do you know the exit strategy in case of an active scenario? Or even if it's not an active shooter scenario, some crazy person comes in, right? We just never know. And we know from facts, right? We've had some incidents in the past.
It happened to me. I was at my pet doctor, and this guy in the middle of the street, he started walking toward the place, and and then we started looking because he was screaming outside, and he had something silver in his hand. He got closer. I saw it was a knife, so he came and started banging on the door. I told the girl, lock the door, and then we called the police, and yeah, he got arrested, and he had the knife, and he wanted to attack us.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and Miguel is saying that he was my MMA coach. Yeah, he's a phenomenal guy. He's come to the office a couple times. One time, and I feel bad now. He came in uniform into the office, and I was giving him a tour of the office. And then we see Kevin Park, and we say, hey, why don't you go in there and pretend to arrest him? So he comes in, I see his eyeball. And then he goes through the series of saying, can I have you please step out, turn around, put your hands behind your back, gets his handcuff. It's like,
I said, oh my God, I should not have done that.
now I think about it, I shouldn't have done that, but it was hilarious. You know, because it made it sound like he was.
Did he
coming
confess?
for us. So. yeah,
It was
I-
me.
his
Heaven knows he's
eyeballs-
done something wrong.
His eyes lit up like a deer.
Maybe that
But I
easy,
feel
give
so
your
bad
hands
for
to
him.
somebody.
But I had to do it, I had to do it. So team, again, July 25th, it's a Monday, 3 o'clock, if you can spare some time that afternoon. Again, captain of Gardena coming in here and teaching this course, all right? Any questions?
Are we gonna leave the door open? Because a lot of places are closing their, doors so people can, ring the bell and stuff like that.
Typically only after hours, during business hours now. I mean, think about like Costco, Sam's, Nordstrom's, they keep their doors locked. So usually after 5:30, yeah, they need the fob to come into the office for security purposes. Cool, all right. Next slide. Hey, who wants to go bowling?
Let's do it.
Only one person?
I'm in.
All right, it is in. So it's gonna be our KW bowling night event at the Gable House. And you know where the Gable House is? It's right off of Hawthorne Boulevard. It's probably half a mile from the office. It'll be Tuesday, June 28th, not next week, but the following week from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The only thing we're asking that if you do decide to come, make sure you RSVP the office, let Natalie know, because we need a head count. And you're also responsible for the rental of your shoes, okay? They do not allow tennis shoes or heels, ladies. Can't be doing no bowling on your heels. You gotta rent some golfing, or excuse me, bowling shoes. Bring some cash as well for drinks and food. Yes, sir. Oh. So please make sure that after the team meeting, just go to Natalie's office, say, hey, I want to participate for bowling night, Tuesday, June 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. And I believe we got 4 lanes on hold. So love to see you. Part of the after hour, fun stuff that we do here at South Bay. Any questions? All right, let's continue. All right, by the numbers. So wanted to share with you what's going on in the market right now. So KW South Bay, this is just South Bay. Month over month, closed units were 81.3. Year to date, we're at 31.9%. Closed values, 93.4. Year to date, 55.9%. Listings taken, month over month, we're at 76.9. We're at 52.7 year to date.
Is this, were that percentage over the previous year or month? Okay.
Previous year and previous month.
Thank
you. Listings sold 68.8, and then 42% year to date. Contracts written. Look at the numbers. Contracts written. 26.2%. Year to date is 30.9%. What is that telling us? We need to what? Absolutely. Write more contracts, submit more offers. So that's always been one of the things throughout the industry that I see across the board is contracts written.
How do we track contracts written?
Every time you submit, the green sheet to the office is how we keep track. It's not like you're submitting offers, it has to be an offer written, offer accepted. Yes, sir. That's how we keep track. If we don't know if you're sending 50 offers, we don't keep track of that, only you as an individual agent. But once your offer gets submitted, and I don't know, Ed, if you want to add to that?
No, I just got a question on these numbers. Is that, when you say 26.2, is that 26.2% growth? Or are we saying we're 26.2% of what we were last year?
This is, and Natalie, she was the one that, is this last year's or this?
30.9 is from last year.
Yeah, I think it's based on
This is
last
this
year's.
Meaning that 30.9% growth, so we're doing great. We're increasing by 30.9%, awesome.
Yeah. Contracts written value 29.2% and 49% year to date, and then closed GCI 92.4% year to date, 50.1%. And if you want a copy of this slide to have it as a presentation, you have access to the MLS, right? You also have access to InfoSpark, and that's just a great platform to kind of gauge and pull up data and look at different trends in different cities and areas as well. Yes, sir.
Can you move that window on the right column, right? I don't understand what that right column represents.
It's year to date.
See the Natalie window, Natalie Piat window?
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. Cool. All right, any questions? All right, let's go ahead and continue. Next slide, please. All right, we have Ben and Brent with First America Title. Look at them, they're like twins. Let's give them a round of applause. They have their first.
We also paint, so if you guys need us to paint, we have.
Actually, I need that. I've got a listing coming up.
Scaffolding
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you so much for having us, Simon. We always appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of you guys. We're going to talk about a few different things, but first, I'm Grant Alley, First American Title, for those of you that don't know, and this is Ben Chu. So we're going to talk to the two things we're going to talk about is one, it's already been, the nail's already been hammered by Ed over here, but being a market differentiator is a big deal right now. You need to fully reassess how you can differentiate yourself from other people servicing the same marketplace. And secondarily, we're going to talk a little bit how the underwriting is easier with First American Title. And Ben wants to go ahead and take that.
So real quick with you guys, I mean, with the market kind of shifting as it is, as you guys all know, even whether it's a great market, a down market, whatever, I mean, every deal is precious. And our goal is to close every single transaction that we close, every single listing that we sign, close every single transaction that we get into. So I want to let you guys know that with us at First American underwriting, you'll experience a much easier, smoother underwriting process than you will with most other places. And that is primarily because both Brent and I, along with our title officer, Gerardo DeLosa, actually can control and have $5 million in underwriting power just within us. So any creative scenario that you get, run it by us, and we understand, along with our title officer, we understand it's not exactly black and white. Like, no, you guys know that no transaction is black and white. Most other underwriters and title companies do not, if it doesn't fit in their box, they don't want to do it, okay? So with us, we can actually get creative and think of ways for you and be able to figure out solutions and ways for you to be able to close a transaction or find ways around any obstacle that you have. So even if you are in a tough scenario with somebody else, with another title company or whatnot, I always think of us as a second choice. Feel free to run your scenario by us, and we can talk about it amongst ourselves and then let you know if that's something that we can do or how we can get around whatever obstacle or situation that you have. Okay. In addition, we are also, and I literally just had this situation come up yesterday. We are the only title company in California that's currently allowed to use a raw notary. Are you guys familiar with raw notaries? Raw notaries are remote online notaries. So meaning it's basically signing by notary via Zoom. Okay. Other title companies are not. California actually does not technically recognize raw notaries as being valid, but as a pilot program, we're allowed to work with the other county or all the county reporters to be able to test out the raw notaries. Okay. How does this play? If you have a seller signer that happens to be out of the country, can't get to the embassy, is too far from the embassy, whatever reason, they can get a notary, they can do a notary basically via Zoom and get the grant deed signed. Okay, so like the situation we had a seller that was stuck in Scotland, couldn't get a embassy appointment for a month and a half, but they were trying to close the transaction today. We were really yesterday, but they're closing today.
Yeah.
We were able to get them signed by a raw notary. Thank goodness. They were with us and not anyone else. Otherwise, they wouldn't be closing the listing. Okay. The other thing that we wanted to touch on really quick too is also gap closing. We're also one of the very, very few title companies that can do a gap close for you guys. Okay, a gap close is basically meaning that the transaction, the deal is considered closed. The title policy is effective as of the closing date, and you record the day later or the
After the
following
weekend.
business day. Okay.
So it comes to those situations, there's a lot of lenders that have wire cutoff times at 12. Like for instance, Wells Fargo, we don't wire it before, if they don't receive it by 12, they say, sorry, kick you to the next day, next business day. So in that scenario, we will gap close on that and you'll be able to move in that weekend, which is, it's a big deal. We all have, put ourselves in that situation where we have the movers planned and it's Friday and you want to get in that weekend and get into your brand new house. So, yes, sir? Oh, I thought you hit your finger up. Okay.
Right, so just so
Yeah.
I'm clear about that. So like, yeah, with Wells, their cutoff is noon on a
Mhm.
Friday.
Mhm.
And the funds don't come in, they're gonna wire it on Monday.
Yep.
But you'll go ahead and close it and buyer can move in that weekend.
So how that actually, well, it would actually, we have to have the funds and the actual deed, and then we'll close it,
Which we typically do.
which we took, yeah. So it's more, like with LA County, so like Wells Fargo funds are Friday, right?
Oh,
But
right,
you
right.
can't record until Monday.
Got it,
Okay.
okay. So if the recording is delayed,
Yes.
got it, okay.
Yeah.
And we'll make payoffs, we'll do all that stuff, so there's not extra days of interest charged to the seller and all that good stuff, so it's a really good strategy to use. And yeah, is there anything else?
So yeah, especially right now with the a tougher market where you're on time crunches and every deal is just that much more valuable. We're here to partner with you to work things out, whatever it is that you guys need.
So I want to briefly touch on, let me know if you want to.
You're fine.
Okay. The red light comes on, it's like, get out of here.
That's music.
And I gotta go.
Yeah, keep music.
Oh, the music really starts earlier than the music. Fade me out. Real quick, you're gonna hear a lot of this talk, you're probably get a bunch of emails and everything, but where we are at in this marketplace as of today, and Chris will touch on this in a little bit, I assume, but rates went up today. How far did they go up, Chris? 3/4 of a point. Woo, guys, that's buying power. I suggest one of the things I want you guys to just kind of really dig in on is, educate yourself on what that means for buying power. Depending on what market you're in, that could be $50,000 worth of buying power, it could be $100,000 worth of buying power. It could take you out of a neighborhood. So getting with someone like Chris and really understanding where the financing angle is at is going to help you big time in your strategies when you're talking with your buyers and also when you're talking with your sellers that will become buyers. So that's something to take into consideration and definitely talk to Chris about that. But the other things I want you guys to kind of look at right now, by show of hands, how many of you would say that 50% or more of your business is from your network, your sphere? Okay, so majority of the people in here, and for the newer agents, as you grow, that your network's going to grow, your sphere is going to grow, and that's probably going to take over a large source of your business. You need to double down on them first more than anybody else. You need to make sure that you do not lose a deal from your sphere. A couple different ways to give you little touch points with them is, offer to do a free market analysis of their home. You can have Ben or I, our company will take your database and see if anybody's property is in a trust to make sure that their property is in a trust. That's a good touch point. Another good touch point is to see what other properties they own. And if they do own multiple properties, like an investment property, talk to them about getting a free rental survey from you. just look up some rents on the MLS and tell them like, hey, you should probably be getting this market rent. I know times are tough for everybody. Are you getting the rents that you want to get? You know, there's all these different things that you can do inside your sphere. Start meeting with them one-on-one. They're the ones that will get you through the tough times. A lot of the top producers here and any office will tell you that your sphere and your people in your tier 1 group, tier 2 group will get you through the tough times. And I think we have other things to share with you guys, but it's probably more best suited for a one-on-one. If you guys want to strategize on how to tackle this tough market, because it looks like it's going to be here for at least a little while. You know, let's build for the future. Now's your time to be a market differentiator. So let's be deliberate in what we do.
One last thing I wanted to touch on with the shift in the market too. For those of you that have been around over 12 years, back in 2008 to 2012, these types of markets are also the types of markets that where fortunes are made. Okay, so if you have any clients, any people in your sphere, it's a good time to talk to them about getting their finances in order and maybe purchasing some investment properties. Because when prices start coming down, they have some cash put somewhere. Investment properties might be a good way to start diversifying their portfolios. So just additional conversations you can have this year. So think about
It's a
those.
simple thing, right? With the 2 to 4 units and the 5+, if you look at them, it either makes sense or it doesn't. It's a non-emotional purchase. And with rates going where they are, you know, and your absentee owner on a 5 unit, 4 unit, 3 unit, whatever it is, if the rents don't make sense, you're not going to do it, right? But if you actually have cash, you can gobble up properties right now. So even if they don't, or they know someone that does, you know, that it's good to get that message out there so they can sit down and strategize with you. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times people in your sphere and your surrounding network think that you only sell single family townhomes and condos. So if you want to add another revenue stream to your business, this is a good way to kind of squeeze some more juice out. So, you have any questions? Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you guys. All right.
Very good, very informative, right?
Yeah.
All right, to lead the next conversation, I have Fernando Diaz, who's going to kind of give us a lender update, you know, just to coincide to what Ben and Grant were saying. So, Fernando, are you still?
I am here. Can you hear me though?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Sorry, guys. I'm at a
Can you, take
realtor.
the slide?
I'm at a realtor birthday lunch here in Hermosa, suffering. Sorry. But can you hear me then?
Yes,
Simon?
we can hear you.
All righty, guys. Well, I think I just heard somebody discuss it there. The Fed did raise rates 3/4 of a point today. So what does that mean? Well, actually, it means that we have a little bit of a pullback, or we did at least before I left the car, and I was listening to Jerome Powell's speech on the notes and the meeting that they had, which, you know, if you like economic geeky stuff, it was pretty entertaining because he seems to be backpedaling now on his last meeting statements about transitory and, you know, 0.75 and a 1% hits are off the table. So all that stuff is back on the table. Everything's back on the table, basically, from the press conference that he had. But obviously, you know, they want to have it in a controlled fashion, which is what they should do. But due to the fact that he did hit us for 0.75 to 1, which is what the market expectation was, you know, the markets have sort of calmed down for now. I think I personally feel we'll see a little bit of a pullback in rates this week. Obviously, we got hit pretty hard Friday and Monday due to the inflation reports that came out. But I do see a little bit of a pullback. All of their projections, the numbers that they see were obviously slower growth. Home builder sentiment is way down, and also sales are down overall. But keep in mind, there's still a supply issue in a lot of markets such as ours, and that is part of what we're noticing. One other thing that I noticed, guys, is we've had 3 clients of mine that went into escrow this week. And what I'm hearing from these realtors is the level of competition, the fighting has really slowed down, and it's given them a good opportunity and chance to obtain these homes, not even over asking price. So that sort of has calmed down, which I would say, hey, that's a great message to get out to all of your buyers. You know, if they've been on the sideline or a little bit hesitant because they're done fighting with 20 and 30 offers, you know, I think that, you know, for the most part, not all markets, once again, not all houses, but I think that they definitely have a better chance to succeed right now than they've ever had, at least in a long, long time. So I think it's very positive in that essence. If you've got good buyers in the market ready to go, I think you're going to find it that they have an easier time of having success than they did, over the last, who knows how, how long, but over the past, let's put it that way. And that's pretty much it. Obviously rates are on the rise. Yesterday I've seen two reports. Hard to believe which one's true, but 5.76 and 6.2 as of yesterday was the national average on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Not sure, from what I saw today, 5.75 at a small cost was about it on a standard loan. If you go on the jumbo side, they get a little bit lower, which is more to our market. Now you're talking like 5.2, 5.1, 5.3, depending on the metrics in the program and the loan size. But overall, that's what I see. But definitely, it will take time, guys. As always, the markets get hit hard. Things spike immediately, at least in front of us. But by the time the media gets to it, and also the consumer, more importantly, it's 10, 14, 15 days down the road before you actually see what kind of impact this is going to have on the markets truly, especially the local markets for us here. So that is it, unless you guys have any specific questions, Simon, anybody. I can't see the chat thing or anything, but that's my report.
Let me check. I don't think we have any questions for you. Fernando, any questions? All right. No questions, Fernando. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
All right.
All righty, guys.
Good vacation.
He looks like he's on vacation, huh?
No, look, here's my view down there. There's the beach, guys, if you want to see where I'm at. But no, I have to hightail it out of here with these friends. I've got a wedding to attend in Temecula tomorrow. So I am hightailing it out and go from there.
Beautiful.
And by the way, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there coming up this weekend. So wishing you all a happy Father's Day.
Awesome. Thank you, Fernando. Awesome.
All righty, guys, take care.
All right, let's go ahead and continue. Oh, okay, broker update. Let me share my computer real quick. Dan, can you give me access? Thank you. Let's see. Well, all right. Everyone in Zoom, can you see my purchase agreement here? This is the RPA. I want to stress and emphasize on what I'm seeing right now with the markets, and the good thing is now that it's kind of transitioning from a seller's market now to a more buyer's market. We're going to see less and less sellers demanding for us to release contingencies, right? And the importance of holding on to those contingencies, such as physical inspections, seller disclosures, appraisals, and especially the loan contingencies, right? Now, I want to focus on section 8, H as in Henry, which is this section here where it says removal or waiver of contingency with the offer, okay? How many times have you been in a scenario where you're submitting an offer, you're having communications with the listing agent, and the listing agent is saying, what is it going to take to get our offers accepted, right? Well, we have to do this, and that, right? And some of it is releasing physical inspections, reducing the time frames to close the deal, appraisal, and sometimes, you're dealing with a cash offer, right? They may ask for us to release loan contingency. Now, the importance of this section is to protect the consumer and to protect the agent, because once you release any and all contingency, what happens to the buyer's deposit? Okay. There's a risk of the deposit being forfeited, right? Forfeited. So I want you to focus on what it says here. Buyers shall have no obligation, right, to remove a contractual contingency unless seller has provided you all required documents, reports, disclosures, and information pertaining to that specific contingency. So it's telling you right now that you don't have to release that as a condition, right? It's an option. But it also goes into and says that if unless the seller has provided all the documentation, if buyer does remove a contingency without first receiving all required information from the seller, buyer is what? Relinquishing any contractual rights that apply to that contingency. Meaning once you release it, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. You cannot go backwards. If you release the appraisal contingency as an example, right? And the appraised value doesn't come to the price, can you back out based on that? Well, no, if you release that as a condition, right?
Are we having problems with appraisal values? I mean,
We're starting to see some, surprisingly, one of our agents, and it's a very good valid point, Farah. One of our agents listed a property for 1,588. And she had like 5 or 7 offers. The highest offer came in at 1.8. Wow. And it appraised at 1.8. That was like here in Torrance, off of Ansel. I didn't think it was gonna appraise. So what the listing agent says, in order for your offer to be accepted, seller's asking for you to release that appraisal because it was iffy. Now it's in a very desirable area of Torrance, but we weren't certain if that was gonna happen. The good thing is that the buyer had enough reserves to back up if the appraisal was not going to match with the price.
Yep. That's a solution.
Ironically, it appraised at 1.8. I was like, wow, that is crazy. So it really depends. It really depends. All right, so if buyer removes or waives any contingencies without an adequate understanding, right? That is our job to give that information and make sure that the buyer knows and understands and acknowledges, right, what they're getting themselves into. Because once the initial or sign and that is presented, that's it. You're basically delinquishing your rights. Okay. Understand the property's condition or buyer's ability to purchase. Buyer is acting against the advice of the agent.
Getting us off the hook.
Yeah. Now we can go in for hours and talk about this because there's another question that is thrown at me. What if you get a late disclosure, right? What if one of the disclosures comes in after the fact? Well, based on what the contract says, that if you do get a disclosure, new material facts about the property, then the buyer has certain time frame. And what time frame do they have?
5 days.
Yes, sir. The buyer has an additional 5 days to release that as part of the condition. Now, what if you release that contingency and then the seller sends you, oh, by the way, here's a new disclosure, a new material fact. Does that give the buyer out in case if it's a severe situation or scenario?
Yes.
really?
Yes, yep. Even if they release disclosures contingency, if they get new disclosures,
Okay.
they have 5 days to either cancel and get their deposit back or remove that contingency.
Really? Wow.
How many people agree with Bob
I
and
don't.
say that if you get a new material fact about the property after the seller has provided you with disclosure, but now something comes up or something that the seller failed to provide you, now provides it to you and the buyer, gives you that initial 5 days to review, even though you have released that as part of the contingency, does that give you the right to cancel the deal? How many say yes? How many say no?
Fair.
How many say, I don't know? Thanks.
I put outside.
Give me an example of that.
But like HOA docs.
Yeah, HOA docs are always late.
HOAs are always notorious for this.
Yep.
Sometimes the delay, if they ask you to release, seller disclosures in 10 days and they requested HOA documents, but they don't come to the 12th day. And now the buyer it goes over the bylaws, the CC&Rs and all the policies and procedures of the HOA, right? And now they see something that says, oh, by the way, you cannot use this unit to rent it. It has to be owner occupied. And the intent was for them to eventually rent it out. That might be something that the buyer may not want to purchase the home, right? And now they've gotten that information later then, but they release that as a condition. Does that give the buyer the right to back out of the deal? And the answer is yes, yes. And we could go on and fight through this. If they say, well, you released that contingency, yeah, but you provided us with additional information that we were not aware.
So that's removal of contingency only goes to the original document that was given, the disclosure that was given to buyer. Anything that comes late, it doesn't, apply anymore.
Anything that's new, material that may
Right.
affect the desirability of the home, then yes, you can use that as a way to back out the deal. And there's another stipulation, but for the sake of time, I'll probably share it on our next update on contracts. But yeah, just wanted to give you a peace of mind of how these contracts work. Yes, sir.
Yeah, can I ask another question? On the other side of that,
Yeah.
If a buyer refuses to release contingency, past the contingency period, literally almost at a close, because,
The buyer?
yeah, the buyer, the agent refuses to send the full contingency removal.
Okay.
On a sale, because the tenant is occupying the garage. The tenant and the function just moved, but the tenant occupying the garage. And I kept telling to the agent that, listen, that's not, yeah. Removing the contingency, you need to remove the contingency for us to pay the tenant in the garage and move out. So I'm just curious as to, it's been a fight that's been going on. I kind of get what over, but I couldn't.
Yeah. And
So what can we do with that?
and
Okay. So what you can do in that scenario, obviously, real estate transactions, it's unique in itself, right? It's the back and forth, back and forth. It is the obligation, because the contract says this, Gary, that the buyer must release that as a contingency if it's due date, right? So if that 17 days is to release that contingency, the buyer has to be proactive in releasing that. But what happens with buyers and buyers agents? Do they proactively release that as a condition? No, they try to stay under the radar, right? To wait as long as they possibly can. So what do we need to do? Well, the listing agent and the seller have to be the ones engaged in that proactive position, and then send out the notice to perform with the CR form, contingency removal. That allows now the buyer 48 hours to release that as a condition. And if the buyer does not release it, then the seller has the right to cancel the deal. So to answer your question, it is the seller and the listing agent's duty to not let it drag. Now there's concessions, right? The buyer can ask for an extension of time, right? Mr. or Mrs. Seller were asking for an additional 2 to 3 days or a week to release that as a condition. So if the buyer's agent and the buyer are being proactive, then it's a give and take, right? Because no one wants to start over again, right? The listing agent doesn't want to start over, the buyer's agent doesn't want to start over. And when you start, poking the bear and threaten, then you have no choice. Are you going to cancel, or you're just going to do this again and allow the buyer to continue doing this? Because once they get away with it once, they're going to get away with it a second time and ask for an extension or not to release that as a condition. And now you're going to be playing back and forth 40 days, 50 days later. Who's going to be upset at you? Your clients, because the buyer ended up backing out and canceling escrow. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You don't want to be in that position. It's not a good position to be. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Any other questions? All right. That is it for me. Thank you. So I'll stop sharing. All right, Natalie, do we have anything else? That's it. All right, that's it. Any needs and wants? Anyone have any coming soon? Off market? Anyone pitching any opportunities? Anyone online? Is David Ashar here?
I have 2 new listings.
All right,
If you
share
want,
with
if you
us.
guys have, hey, I have, I told you guys a long time ago about the one in Palos Verdes. Well, we got the listing signed. It's a major fixer, 1850 on Eastvale,
How much?
1850.
Oh, one.
Is it 1850?
1850.
Ah,
It's 25, just 2460 square feet, 3 corrals down below. It's a probate court confirmation. It needs work. So the owners are coming out next week and we'll figure out if we're gonna sell it off market or not. But that's that. The other one I'm putting in the MLS today, 4010 Bluff in the Riviera for 1590, all done, finished, done, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And then also the one I have on 236th Street, super cute. And you guys were talking about marketing that is different than Edside, I think. I have to do something to stand out in the neighborhood So I put a sign up, a writer that says free pizza with purchase of house. So next time it's gonna say free gas card with purchase of house.
There you go.
You guys would have to do stuff to stand out.
Yeah.
So, and I, literally at the open house, people were screeching to come in and say, okay, what's this about? I said, seriously, buy the house through me, but no kidding. So that's it. We're working on some others, but, bring your people through. We're gonna have it open this weekend. And I told them, oh, being in Keller Williams really helps because there's so many more agents that will participate. So let's participate.
Don't make a liar out of her. Oh, wait, she's in politics.
Hold your weapon.
All right, Jane, anyone else? Going once, going twice? All right.
All right.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.